15 mind-blowing facts about North Korea. The dark truth behind women in the military expose. What if everything you thought you knew about North Korea barely scratched the surface? Hi there, and welcome to ACT Travel Documentary, your window into the world's most hidden realities. Today, we're uncovering 15 rarely known insights about North Korea that reveal the hidden lives of women in uniform. From intense training to difficult truths behind the facade, what we reveal today is rarely seen beyond closed borders. These are the stories often left out of the official narrative, until now. Number 15. North Korea's mandatory military service for women. Did you know that in North Korea, all women between the ages of 17 and 20 are required to serve in the military, regardless of their personal choice? Since the year 2015, this rule has meant that thousands of young women must commit to up to 6 full years of military life, often until they turn 23, with no option to decline. Officially, it's about national defense, but many analysts interpret this policy as a calculated strategy by the North Korean government, a way to project strength, discipline, and unity. These young women are not merely soldiers. They are symbolic representations of loyalty. North Korea regularly showcases images of female troops marching in perfect unison, designed to impress the world and reinforce obedience at home. But behind the public display, the reality is much more difficult. According to human rights reports published in 2024, many of these women experience harsh discipline, restricted personal freedoms, and limited access to healthcare or legal support during their service. There is no way out. Refusing to serve is not just discouraged, it could lead to serious punishment or lifelong consequences. So here's a question to consider. What would you do if your future wasn't yours to decide? Would you go along with the system or risk everything to escape? Number 14. The unseen truth about North Korean women in the army. Back in the early 2010s, only about 10 to 15% of North Korea's military personnel were women. Fast forward to the year 2015, boom, that number nearly tripled to 40%. No, it wasn't a sudden patriotic rush. It was pressure, quiet, systemic. You see, as the country's population became more tightly controlled by the state, women were quietly pulled into military service, not out of empowerment, but because they had no real choice. According to a 2024 report from the United Nations Human Rights Council, many female conscripts serve under harsh conditions, often beyond legal age limits and official term durations. I once came across a handwritten account from a former North Korean soldier. She wrote, "We didn't enlist, we endured." Let that sink in. This isn't just about national defense. This is about how absolute power can quietly reshape gender roles. From the outside, it looks like progress. But look closely and you'll see a strategy dressed up as equality. So let me ask you, is this strength or is it silent survival? Is it resilience or is it resignation in uniform? If you had to choose just one word, is this strength or survival? Comment below with your answer. Strength or survival? Number 13. The hidden burden behind the uniform. In North Korea, wearing a military uniform can mean more than just serving your country. For many women, it also means unpaid domestic labor, carefully masked as discipline under the military code. Since approximately 2015, multiple reports and personal accounts from former female soldiers now living overseas, have revealed this dual burden. While men primarily focus on training and tactical exercises, women are often expected to cook meals, clean shared spaces, and provide emotional care, duties that are unwritten but deeply ingrained in practice. Their day begins well before sunrise and stretches long into the night. According to a 2024 report published by the Korea Institute for National Unification, more than 65% of these women reported severe physical exhaustion from the cumulative demands of both soldiering and domestic tasks. This is only the beginning. Stay tuned. There are many more truths ahead, and what you discover next might just leave you speechless. Number 12. Soldiers by rank, servants by duty. Since 2015, if you are a woman joining the North Korean military, you are expected to meet physical standards, a minimum height, a target weight, and a medical clearance, proving you are free from diseases such as tuberculosis. It sounds strict, but in reality, these requirements often function more as symbolic checkboxes than actual evaluations of physical fitness. On paper, the rules are designed to ensure that you can endure the hardships of military life, long marches, poor nutrition, and extreme weather conditions. But the truth? Many do not meet those standards, and that's tolerated. Why? Because in this system, mass enlistment matters more than genuine combat readiness. By 2023, nearly 40% of female recruits already had pre-existing health issues before training even began. And once you are inside the system, it typically only gets worse. This is not strengthening the military. It is silently weakening it from within. You may wear the uniform, but your body could already be breaking down before you ever reach the battlefield. Number 11. A diary that doesn't belong to you. Picture this. Before going to sleep, you jot down your thoughts, not about your dreams, but about how faithful you are to your superiors. And then, someone else reads it. Sounds unreal, right? But according to multiple former service members, this is part of daily life for many women in the armed forces of North Korea. These aren't private journals. They're records reviewed by supervisors to ensure ideological alignment. It's not about expression. It's about control. In one 2023 interview by Korea Future Initiative, a former conscript shared, "A girl in my unit wrote she missed her family. A few days later, she was gone. No explanation." This environment reportedly leads many individuals to write what is considered expected rather than what is actually true. A 2024 survey found that nearly 65% of women who left the military stated that they adjusted their diary entries due to fear of punishment. When knowing every word you write might be interpreted, monitored, judged. So here's a question for you. If someone else defines your emotions, are they still yours? This isn't about reflection. It's about self-preservation. Number 10. Career advancement, or the illusion of it. When we think of North Korea's military, images of discipline and unity often dominate. But behind the rigid formations, what do we really know about the women in uniform? In a regime that promotes gender equality on paper, the lived reality is vastly different. According to a 2025 report from the Institute for National Security Strategy based in Seoul, fewer than 3% of senior military positions are held by women, and almost all of them are connected to influential families or high-ranking members of the ruling party. While male officers focus on command, many female soldiers are tasked with dual responsibilities: combat readiness and domestic chores. That includes cooking, cleaning, and even personal errands for their superiors. Promotions? Rare, unless you're born into the right lineage. One former soldier who defected remarked, "I served 7 years. Not once did I see a woman lead. We worked harder, but recognition never followed." So, is this about discipline or control, equality or hierarchy? As this travel documentary series continues, ask yourself, how does the internal structure of a military reflect its broader society? And what does that mean for future diplomacy and regional stability? Number 9. What's hidden behind the uniform? In many travel documentary episodes on North Korea, the focus often stays on public parades and iconic statues. But what if we went deeper, behind the uniform? According to a report published in the year 2025 by the Committee for Human Rights in North Korea, more than 60% of women who escaped from the regime shared experiences of emotional coercion and unauthorized personal inspections during their time in the military. These statements are allegations, not confirmed facts, but they reflect a deeply concerning and recurring pattern. Why do so few speak out? Due to fear of social punishment or being labeled disloyal. In a system with no independent grievance channels, their voices fade into silence. For many, the scars are invisible, but lasting. This is not history. It's a silent hardship many still endure today. So here's a question. Should a travel documentary simply admire the surface, or ask who pays the price to keep that surface clean? What are we not seeing behind those formations and medals? Number 8. Severed ties. How isolation shapes control. Picture this. You enter the military, and just like that, every connection to your life outside is gone. For many women in North Korea's armed forces, this is a lived experience. From the first day, there are no phone calls, no letters, just silence. This isn't just about training. It's systematic erasure. Within tightly controlled living quarters, daily routines are fused with ideological instruction. Verified reports as of April 2025 indicate that recruits are consistently told, "The party is your family. The leader is your guardian." This form of messaging isn't about discipline, it's structured mental conditioning. And the impact? Many report losing their sense of identity. Emotional detachment becomes a defense mechanism. Fear replaces trust. According to a 2025 Korea Future Initiative study, over 60% of former servicewomen experience long-term psychological struggles. Many say they feel disconnected from loved ones after reintegration. This method of control isn't designed for support. It's built to reshape loyalty. So ask yourself, what's more terrifying, losing your rights or forgetting your roots? Let that question linger. If you made it this far, drop this short answer in the comments. Losing roots is worse. Just post it if you feel the weight of this story. Your voice helps others see what's been hidden. Number 7. Loyalty by command. Marriages that aren't a choice. Hey, have you ever imagined a world where love isn't chosen, it's assigned? Testimonies from former female soldiers uncover an unsettling reality. Many were paired with senior officers, not for romance, but for loyalty building. Refusal wasn't just discouraged, it was unthinkable. This wasn't marriage by choice. It was obligation in uniform. The phrase, "marry for the party," isn't symbolic. It's a directive. Saying no could mean facing harsh consequences or even public reprimand, a method used to reinforce obedience. And it doesn't end there. After leaving service, these women often face barriers to rebuilding their lives. Jiyeon, a former soldier who fled, recalled how she was assigned to marry an officer. She learned his name the same day. "I wasn't asked, I was informed," she said. So next time you picture a wedding, ask yourself, what if it wasn't a celebration of love, but a symbol of control? What would you do if marriage wasn't your decision to make? Name changed for privacy. Number 6. The hidden lives behind North Korea's elite hospitality units. Young women between the ages of 14 and 24 are reportedly selected for exclusive positions within elite hospitality teams. Information confirmed through accounts from defectors and international reports. These roles are not publicly posted. They are quietly assigned through undisclosed selection processes, often based on physical appearance, demeanor, and perceived political loyalty. These women's responsibilities go far beyond traditional entertainment. Under strict surveillance and restricted movement, they are placed in heavily guarded residences and tasked with participating in private functions for senior officials and foreign dignitaries. Their appearances are carefully curated to reflect prestige and loyalty. According to reports published by the United Nations and several human rights organizations in 2024 to 2025, these units are viewed not as symbols of cultural pride, but as tools of internal control. Emotional pressure and behavioral conditioning are reportedly common. What kind of autonomy can exist when participation feels more like obligation than opportunity? Is this an extension of cultural tradition or a form of systemic pressure? And how do we interpret service in a system where silence is rewarded more than voice? The 2025 Freedom House Index rates North Korea at just 3 out of 100 for personal freedoms, making it one of the world's most tightly controlled states. Still, these stories rarely surface in mainstream travel documentary narratives. Why is that? How can we uncover and responsibly share these hidden realities with empathy, truth, and global awareness? Number 5. A hidden war on motherhood. Many wounds women endure remain unseen and unspoken. According to various human rights organizations, some female soldiers who become pregnant, occasionally under unclear or pressured circumstances, may be forced to end their pregnancies. These actions are allegedly carried out in unsafe, unhygienic conditions without professional medical care. Based on a 2024 report from the UN Commission of Inquiry on DPRK, over 40 documented cases describe serious long-term health effects, including loss of fertility, internal complications, and deep psychological trauma. Experts caution that these cases could represent just a small part of a larger, hidden reality. Why don't more voices come forward? Because in a system rooted in fear, even expressing pain can be dangerous. One survivor, speaking anonymously to Amnesty International in 2023, said, "If you scream, you suffer more." These accounts may point to more than just medical policy. They suggest a deeper issue tied to institutional control. And when the right to motherhood is stripped away under pressure, what hope is left for these women? While we cannot confirm the full scope of these claims, even a few such cases are deeply troubling. That's why sharing and understanding these stories matters, because some truths, however quiet, demand to be heard. Number 4. When smiling becomes a daily drill. When you're in uniform, and even your smile isn't yours, it's part of the daily routine. In North Korea, according to multiple defector accounts, women in the military are required to rehearse facial expressions every day. Smiling, clapping, and expressing joy whenever a leader's name is mentioned isn't optional. It's expected. If a reaction appears late or insufficient, Disciplinary measures may follow. One story tells of a woman named Hye Jin. She reportedly clapped a moment too late during a formal ceremony. The result? She spent 3 days in isolation, unable to speak with others or even make eye contact. Over time, such routines blur the line between performance and emotion. As noted in a 2025 Amnesty International report, around 70% of North Korean female military defectors described experiencing emotional conditioning during service. One former soldier put it simply, "I smiled to follow rules, not because I felt joy." This isn't fiction. It's a glimpse into daily life inside a system where expression is shaped by command. The question remains, can these women ever reclaim their voice? Let's keep the conversation grounded, informed, and respectful. Number 3. The hidden judgments behind the uniform. In some North Korean military units, reports suggest that informal appearance assessments are part of training. Female soldiers may be evaluated not just on discipline or skill, but also on how they look and present themselves. Those meeting certain unspoken standards are said to be moved toward leadership roles, while others take on more physically demanding tasks, often without clear explanation. According to 2025 reports from Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, gender-based role assignments remain prevalent in militarized societies. This reflects deeper dynamics of control, not always enforced by rank, but by quiet expectations tied to image. This isn't just about appearance, it's about autonomy and power. Fact check, year 2025. Over 72% of defected North Korean women who were interviewed by non-governmental organizations mentioned systemic gender-based role placements in the military. So we ask, does the uniform empower or conceal inequality beneath its surface? Number 2, women in North Korea's army, the true price of freedom. Have you ever asked yourself, what would you risk for a taste of freedom? In North Korea, thousands of women serving in the military are answering that question with their very lives. According to reports released in the year 2025 by international human rights organizations, nearly 70% of all military defectors are women. They describe a harsh daily reality of physical mistreatment, chronic hunger, and severe emotional stress. For many of them, escaping isn't an act of defiance, it's a matter of survival. Since the year 2015, more than 2,000 women have successfully fled the country. Most do so under the cover of darkness, navigating icy rivers, secret trails, and evading both armed patrols and trained detection dogs. And the chances of success? Only between 20 and 30% make it out. Some survive, others disappear forever. One woman, Lee Hyun-seo, once said, "My friend was shot trying to escape, but staying felt worse than dying." These women aren't chasing dreams. They're running from a system that stripped them of voice, safety, and future. Every step across the border is a gamble between life and death. Is it bravery or desperation? And if you were trapped in silence, what would you choose? Number 1. Life after service, the invisible struggle. Let me ask you this. What happens when the applause fades and the uniform comes off? Thousands of women complete up to 7 years of military service, often under extremely difficult conditions. But when they return home, they are not welcomed as heroes. Many receive no vocational training, no emotional support, and face daily social discrimination and isolation. The physical toll is equally severe. Years of malnutrition, untreated medical conditions, and harsh environments leave behind long-term damage, including chronic joint pain and serious reproductive health issues. According to a 2024 report by Amnesty Korea, more than 60% of former female soldiers report difficulty reintegrating, saying they often feel invisible in their own communities. Their voices are rarely heard, yet their faces still appear in national parades as symbols of pride. Public praise may exist, but actual support is missing. One former soldier once wrote, "We were trained to protect, but who protects us now?" When your worth disappears with the uniform, what does that say about real recognition? Thanks for watching. Today's journey has taken us deep into one of the world's most closed-off nations, unveiling powerful and often overlooked realities about women in North Korea's military. These insights go beyond mere facts. They highlight broader aspects of life under strict governance, reminding us how much of the world remains out of view. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Ashed Travel Documentary. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming explorations into the world's lesser-known narratives. See you in the next episode, where meaningful journeys spark deeper understanding, and every border holds a story.